Happy Thursday, Mr. Joe Pliss.
October 26th, 2023.
A beautiful day. The sun is shining this autumn, fall day with the leaves turning colors and changes on the way.
I hope so.
Right here in town, right now I'm seeing signs popping up left, right, and center. All the political organizations that are coming together to, kind of put their hat into the ring to see what the people want to do.
Indeed.
As far as the future of Willimantic. What are you seeing?
I'm seeing my signs up there, which is...
That's what I'm talking about. Love seeing it. Mr. Joe Pliss running for town council out in the Wyndhams to represent the good people of Wyndham. That's awesome.
One of the interesting things, as I've talked to many people already, is the different issues that matter to people. And so I've been keeping a backlog. This is just like from my software dev days. We keep backlogs of new features and functions we want. So
they're also called notes, to the lay person. We make some notes as we go around.
A backlog implies sort of you're going to develop a priority on them. And what's at the top of the backlog would be things you pay attention to most. So I don't have any priorities on these yet. But
okay. See, when I hear backlog, just so you know, I hear back burner. And I'm like, then it's never getting done. So, but okay.
Guess what?
That's nice to have your interpretation and perspective on it.
These are all back burner items until you put somebody on the town council that puts them on the front burner.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's great, Joe. That's great.
So I'm ignorant about this whole list. There's a list of 16 items already.
Wow.
I haven't been elected. I'm not even on there yet. I already have a list of 16
So you've been talking
items.
to a lot of people.
Talked to a lot of people. So we got a few things for our show to cover first, but I thought we might take a few of the ones that are more interesting and just chew on those a little bit for today.
That'd be great. I'd love to hear about, really what the people are saying and and what you and I might think about that and really the listeners as well. You can always leave a comment on your opinion on any of this stuff. That's the whole point of that. Joe and I are just two idiots here in Willimantic talking through different issues and seeing what everyone kind of thinks about it.
Yeah, I mean, these are things that I don't really know about. I know a little bit about it. I probably have poorly formed opinions, but now I feel a degree of responsibility to educate myself on them. So this show will help expose that ignorance and maybe provoke some commentary and education.
And some next steps, it sounds like.
Yeah, we can do that too.
I love that. Yeah, so getting right into, I think, where we left off, not necessarily the last show, but some other ones, was we were talking about the journey of making change in a small town, and those are the 4 steps, right? Recognizing an issue or a problem or an area where things could be improved, which
that's right.
You going around and talking to people, you're getting a backlog of those.
Yeah.
And one of the issues that I decided to take this journey with was noticing cars that don't go too slow on our roads, whether it's on just a residential street. I shouldn't have called it a road. It's a street.
Is that like going too fast? Don't go too slow?
Don't go too slow.
They're speeding,
that
racing.
Means they're, out of control. Yeah. they do, yeah.
Dangerous speed.
So we do have some vehicles and drivers that go at speeds that are above the speed limit. Not only that, but also seem to, I don't know, a little all over the road sometimes. But I know this happens everywhere. So because of that common problem, I said, let's see what the steps are to take to do that. So just going on that journey to make a change, that's recognizing the problem. Step 2 is kind of figuring out an idea for what's the next smallest thing that you could do. Don't try to make this whole big elaborate plan, because that sometimes gets bogged down in itself. But just what's the next smallest step that you can do? Step 3 is you do it. You do that thing. You do that thing, actually do it. And step 4 is just to get the feedback on that and repeat that process. So looking, okay, what's the next problem? How, can this solution be improved?
That's right.
So in looking at speeding cars, my solution and next smallest step was to buy a little green person off of Amazon.com. That's a little plastic blow mold that holds a red flag that you put into the road and says, hey, please slow down.
Everybody knows that.
Please slow down, right? If you're looking for it on Amazon, it's called the Kid Alert The Step 2 is the brand, Step 2 Kid Alert. And it was very effective. I walk my dog around the neighborhood there and with my kids, and I saw a lot of brake lights. So very effective, very cool. My feedback was, oh gosh, my repeat would be buy more of these things.
Yeah.
Until it went missing. Like so many people's Halloween decorations this time of year, they went missing. So unfortunately, they're not bolted to the ground or too heavy, and so they did disappear there. I did get one back because it was found in the bushes down the road there. And the other day when I was walking up the road, I looked back and I saw some high school kids coming by, and they started kicking it. I was like, hey, now I know. So they did leave it alone, and that was good. But so looking at next steps, getting some sand in that thing to make it heavier. That's my next step there. So I'm going to do that. But also, I made a commitment last time that I didn't follow through on. So
Which was?
I'll just slap my wrist here. It was to post this story on Facebook. And I know we talk about it here, but
you got to do it.
We have 6 listeners, which isn't as many as
start somewhere.
People on Willimantic today. So yeah, that's my commitment, is to post this story on Facebook to spread the word about it, because I'd like to do a bulk order from the company in conjunction with some other people in town, so that we can put more of these around and kind of have a town presence of saying, hey, these streets are for, yes, driving and commuting, but also for people to walk and enjoy and not necessarily have to be in danger and in fear of their lives.
All right, I'll donate to that fund.
All right, we've got one. All right. Well, thank you. So that's my update right now. I wanted to also add part 2 to that update is I did email Brian Tarble in town engineering about the intersection in particular where I put one of those little guys. I think needs a stop sign.
In that intersection?
Is Church and Lewiston. I've seen accidents there.
Yes.
I have heard...
top of a hill.
Or crashes, I should say. It's no accident if it's engineered improperly, right? We have a responsibility to do something about that. So I've seen crashes. People have told me they've gotten into a crash or almost gotten into a crash. I've heard a lot of swearing from people.
So are we stuck now?
There.
What's been going on lately? What, are we stuck? Are we getting any progress on this?
No, because as journeys sometimes happen, we have tangents in life that take us away. But that's why you and I meet to talk about this.
It's hard to do the little things. On track. Even the little things are hard to do and stay on top of.
They are.
There's so many obstacles.
I mean,
you gotta wait. You gotta wait for other people, and then it's easy to forget about it, and then they forget about it, and then.
But I think that's the point of this journey and saying, "What's the next smallest thing I can do?" So it's not about waiting for someone.
Right.
I think that's really important.
Exactly.
Because if I say, "Oh well, he's not getting back to me," nothing's gonna happen.
What's the next thing? There's always a next.
There's always something you can do. I can do. Right. So that's my commitment today. I'm going to post that story on Facebook.
Right. Well, I'll reply to it.
Get a bulk order going. And I will do one more email with Brian there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's good. So now let's talk about my other kind of journey. As I've been knocking on doors and going to events, and
I just want to say I'm so impressed with how you've taken to the campaign there.
All right.
So I think you're doing a lot of things that maybe other candidates won't. They have their circles and they're really good people as well, but you're really going out of your way to hear from as many different perspectives as you can.
I am. Well, I appreciate everybody that's running. That's no euphemism. They're all volunteers. So whatever you feel about people's point of view or how they execute their work, one thing that's in common, everybody running cares about this town. And they're volunteers. So there's no big payoff that anybody's going to get.
Corporate interest coming in.
So and everybody's got something to offer. So I think counterpoint is really important, and I hope to bring some of that attitude should I end up on a town council.
Awesome. Well, thanks for bringing it to me.
So I'm asking all these people, and I won't go through this list of items. I like to call it a backlog because we're not acting on them, and I certainly can help if I understand these issues. And I don't understand these issues. I'm hearing them yet, But I put them on this backlog to remind me to go research, to get up to speed on them, to reduce my ignorance on it. And I got 16 items so far. It's 2 weeks away from election, so I'm not even on the town council yet. It's already 16 items, so there's a lot out there.
Yeah.
So I won't go through them all, but there's 4 that I thought would be interesting to talk about, and I'll just run through them really quickly, and then we can kind of rapid fire through them. So there's a couple instances of people wanting to change the directionality of streets, either changing a one-way to a two-way or a two-way to a one-way.
Oh, that's interesting.
So yeah, just to think about what that process is and why do it one way or the other is a really good topic.
Well, it is, I live on the hill here in Willimantic, and driving from here down to Valley Street, I think there's 2, right? Just 2 that are one ways, and it is, now that I live here, I know, but it took me a while beforehand to be like, why is that?
I know you want to talk about that. Let me get those other ones. So I overheard some proposal maybe to do something with Memorial Park ball field to make it more handicap friendly. I'm not sure exactly what that means. That could have an impact on the playscape. And so there's some question about how much use does that playscape get.
Oh, interesting.
And I'd really like to talk about that.
Yeah.
I've gotten some feedback about having red light cameras. A lot, not necessarily specifically stating red light cameras, but a lot of frustration around four-wheelers and motorcycles that are not licensed, and maybe all that comes together. And then I've also heard some grousing around the process and policy related to the electronic sign by the Frog Bridge. Mm-hmm. And I think a particularly interesting take is what role should that sign have in promoting business in the downtown corridor? Because right now I don't think commercial enterprises can actually post signs on there.
No, they cannot.
Right.
So, I did look into that.
All right, so those are 4 items. What do you want to take on first?
Let's start with the top there, the one-way streets.
Okay.
Thank you for introing those. That one way that, I was just saying, sometimes they can be confusing for a newcomer. Kind of it was exacerbated for me.
Specifically, we're talking about Walnut Street.
Walnut Street.
That's right where the parking garage is.
Right, so that's, I'm glad you said that.
Valley and Main Street.
So I was saying, for me, it didn't matter too much until the parking garage came in, and one of the things I was really excited about with that coming was, now I have a place to park where I know there's going to be a spot available. I don't have to drive around looking for parking, worry about getting a ticket somewhere. I can just central location and then walk Main Street, where there are some really nice places to visit there. And the excitement is I can come from the back. I don't have to be a part of the traffic on Main Street. I don't have to be a part of the noise. I don't have to add pollution to where we want people to walk and feel safe. I can come right from Walnut Street and park in this. And of course, the first time I came to do that, I came by the police station there and the fire station, and no, you can't. You can't get in that way. Which was a huge oversight in my book.
I know. And it's obvious too, on Third Thursday, that you want people to go in and out.
Yeah.
If you're going down Valley Street, you want people to go against the one way to get to the parking garage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, there's no legal way to get to it. Now, I've heard that it's legal during Third Thursday, so there's never any signs. Right. You don't know these things.
Right.
But that also tells you that in general, this is what people need to do to get access to the garage. So you have this great big garage.
Beautiful.
And it's a pain in the ass
to get
location. To. It's like you have to know to go through downtown to get to it.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And so.
And you have to contribute to more traffic on Main Street, which to me, the point of a parking garage is to get people to walk and enjoy that space.
Another thing,
not necessarily in their car, and if you're putting more cars there,
well that's right. And so who does that hurt? If you're going in one direction, that hurts some of the businesses even on Main Street.
Yeah,
because if you have traffic going both ways, you're going to get more people potentially, say, going to Grounded or maybe whatever, like the tattoo shop right there. The two-way street definitely is associated with better commerce in general. Like there are a lot of studies that
Really?
show that. Yeah.
Really?
So
Interesting.
we're creating in that street is a bit of a desert, and I think it could
Yeah.
it could definitely benefit from a two-way.
Absolutely.
I emailed Brian Tarbell, our town engineer, Matt Vertife, who's sort of de facto planner. What's the process?
Oh, wow. Thanks
And
for doing that, Joe.
and he responded right away.
Yeah.
Love Brian. It's right now. There's a committee, and it goes through that committee. There's the study that's done on the traffic. It goes to the town manager, and then they do it. But if the street runs into a signal that's on a state road, which Walnut does,
Right,
then
the Main Street. I don't
then
know if people know this, actually. That's a really interesting point, is Main Street is actually a state road.
It's a state
not
road.
a town road.
This is a real
So
obstacle.
we don't
to-
have jurisdiction
Right.
over that.
That's a whole show on itself. Is
Mm-hmm.
what we can do and can't do, and I'd like to understand that better. But because Walnut in Maine has that signal, there's going to be a state involved, and so you can instantly say, "Oh, this is going to be a lot more challenging." But I don't know how much more challenging, and that
Right.
needs to be investigated. All right.
Yeah,
gotta keep-
well,
we
go
gotta keep
ahead.
moving.
Yeah, we have a shorter show here, so we do have to
Okay.
keep moving. But I'd like to mention this is a topic I think a lot of people might have some ideas and interest in. So please leave a
Yeah.
comment down below,
Should
or give
Walnut
us a
be
call.
two-way?
Yeah, and or come on the show and talk about it. Because
Yeah.
man, if we can make a change on this, I think that could
Yep.
be awesome. Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Joe.
All right. Memorial Park.
Love it.
There may be some things done to the ball field, but it triggered a topic around the usage of the playscape.
Really?
Yeah, and some people.
Oh, so it's not
I
just
won't.
about the
I
ball
won't
field.
mention who, but there are people in governance that are under the impression that it's not used very much.
Really?
And my first reaction is, I use that regularly.
Yeah.
I have a 4-year-old, and I know that she's often brought down to that playscape through her daycare when she was younger.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
when we
they
go
still
down,
walk down there.
When we go down
Yeah.
there, there's usually 4 to 8 kids, and there are families that have
Mm-hmm.
they buy food, they bring it there, they use the picnic benches.
I used to take my kids there all the time. I still will. I just like you, they're a little bit older now, so.
If anything, if anything, it needs some improvements and upgrades. It's getting like rutted and
Yeah,
looking a
underneath some of
little
those
worn.
swings and some of the slide landings, for sure.
But it's a great playscape. Otherwise,
Yeah, I guess to their point of like people don't use it, I disagree with that. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people use it, and some upgrades would be great for sure.
yeah. So I it's good to let's keep an ear out for that. I don't know, when and where that feedback is, but this could be another thing to post on Wilmette Today, for instance, to say, who uses that playscape? Speak up. Let's hear your voice, and how could should we improve it or should we get rid of it?
So, in I guess the feedback from the town management or someone at town hall that you maybe were talking to overheard was that not only do they not believe that a good number of people use it, whatever that number might be, but also that there's an idea of doing away with it.
Well, maybe moving it to some other place.
Interesting.
Like that. It's an early stage idea.
I
I'm
think
sure.
the location's great.
So do I.
I think
it's
we
really
could
good.
use more playscapes down near that Main Street area where we want to create kind of a walkable space for people.
Maybe there could be another one on the other end of Main
That's
Street.
what I'm talking about, over by the community center.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
That might be a good spot.
I will say, yes, Memorial Park, as far as its location, I think is the best thing we have available at this moment. Could it be a little bit, I think, closer? Like, you know what? If you took out Town Hall and put a playground there, perfect. Just demolish Town Hall and put a playground.
I don't know about that. All right, moving along. Red light cameras. That's where you put like some kind of computerized Big Brother eyeball on a signal, and when the light turns red, if anybody goes through it, it takes a picture and sends you a ticket. A lot of people don't like that Big Brother feel, but particularly out in the Wyndhams where we have only state trooper policing. Having a signalized camera could, having a camera on a red light could be a possible assistant in keeping track and slowing traffic and even improving safety, where we've had lots of crashes.
I don't know what the answer for this is.
You're I can see the hair on the back of your head standing up.
I'm so back and forth on it. Yeah.
What's the bad side of this?
The bad side of this is, having just cameras permeate our society.
Why? Are you doing something illegal down the street?
No.
People that are.
No, but also, governments, if they're controlled by the people, and people have that involvement, that's great. If sometimes other interests get involved, then those cameras can be used for things that, go against the people's interests. So
we have a protest marching down Main Street. Next thing you know, a bunch of us are getting arrested based on the camera?
Potentially. I don't have a specific example of what it might be, but sure. Or if you get into political things and, the country becomes so divided that there's a political party that wants to take the opposite side prisoner, or charge them with crimes for small things. It just makes
hypothetical invasion of privacy and rights.
I think privacy is a freedom and a right we have
versus maybe some short-term improvement in safety and law and order.
Right. I certainly see without all that other stuff I just said, put it there. That's great. We could use the help. Yes, those stop signs should be there, or where I'm talking about. Red lights should be followed, the law should be followed. Those are important things. However, to constantly have surveillance takes away freedom.
All right, so we'll leave it at that. The last item to cover is the Frogbridge electronic sign, which I had a hand in as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission in approving. I think there's a lot of positive to that kind of communication and openness. It's really visible.
I love that sign.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
There have been some valid critiques in terms of the signs not getting updated. It's not clear what the process is.
Absolutely. That's true too.
I think there are two guys in the IT department, and one of the guys is responsible for it. It's not really. There's nobody really from a marketing standpoint thinking about this. I'm talking with some ignorance here. It would be good to know what the process is. Yeah. This is another one of those things help me understand the process.
Yeah.
Who do you even talk to? Maybe the IT director is the person to talk to on this. So maybe that's a follow-up thing we can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is on my list, on my backlog, so I want to find out what that process is. But one of the groups that is particularly frustrated about the use of the sign are the downtown merchants.
Yeah.
So here you have this great big sign, and you have this downtown corridor, which is in everybody's best interest in town to see thriving. And I don't believe those commercial merchants are allowed to put any signage on that sign.
No, I don't believe they are.
That's a policy that was created by us on the planning and zoning.
Interesting.
And part of it was just to be cautious in terms of what it is.
That makes sense.
But now it's been out here a year or so.
It's time for the next step.
I think that there's the Wyndham Downtown Neighborhood Association.
WDNA.
Maybe that kind of group should be, treated as almost like in the policy. So the neighborhood association can post, and it's not 12 different merchants fighting over fair time.
Interesting. That gives us. I really like the WDNA and that downtown group. I think they're a great association. I do think that you are excluding some people by just giving it to them.
Yeah.
So you do want to be open to.
But there's a sign that's right on the downtown corridor, and so to give special treatment to the merchants in downtown, I don't. From a policy standpoint, I don't have a problem with that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and again, I guess there just then needs to be a process of any other downtown merchants, whether or not you have a storefront there, but if you're doing business in town, should have a path to access and have their ads reviewed and considered as well.
Yeah, like what that is, I don't know, but like to me, it seems pretty reasonable once you figured out what your downtown is defined as. Does it include Valley Street, or, that sort of thing, like the co-op and the the wine store right there.
Yeah.
Like what is that downtown area, and then I could see half the signage time being devoted to that.
I love that. Yeah. Or again though, I wouldn't. I guess you'd limit it to the town. I don't. I guess agree with that. It needs to be just businesses on Main Street or Valley Street. Because some people are, handymen or contractors that don't have a physical location there, but might want to participate in showing the town what they do.
I think that's the counterpoint. I don't agree with it.
You're talking about simply
I
events.
Think it's a sign parked right in like a marquee spot for downtown. The town has a vested interest in that corridor being vibrant, and it's in everybody's best interest.
For sure.
And I think if you open it up to everybody, it gets way more complicated.
That's true.
How much time does Walmart get on that sign?
Oh shit. Now you brought them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, none.
No, it's like local merchant.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I see your point. I'm not there yet.
I hadn't thought about any of this before this conversation.
No, I know, right? Just so you guys know, this is on the spot live. That's a good point, and having my heart is totally in creating that downtown space that's vibrant and walkable, and yes, limiting it would help with that. So I see that.
Really thorny topic though.
Yeah, well, but easy. I'm happy to talk about it. Yeah. So but my initial point of view is to have other local businesses, whether or not you have a physical space there, be able to have a voice in the business community as well, because they are living here, they're providing services here, and they're a big part of this town and creating that local velocity of the dollar, right? Keeping the money flowing around our town concept as well. And so that's a big part of my heart as well.
All right, so that was just a little bit of a taste of what I'm hearing on the trail, and I look forward to getting people's feedback. I'm starting to form opinions on it. Some of you think that I'm an idiot for going in that direction. I want to hear that, and please correct me before I go off and make some new ordinances or new policies. But these are important topics to address, and I'm sure there's many more of them.
Many more, but hey, we got to start somewhere.
How do you want to wrap up this show? We've getting to be a long one already.
How about
just a shot?
A shot of coffee here, straight to the dome.
Maybe a little something in the coffee.
That's right.
Cheers, everybody. See, a little too strong.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a big pour.
How about that? Have a great day, everyone.